For my last questions of the day, I had to go to the book of Job. I mean, God calls Job up on the carpet, kind of, and he says basically, hey, Job, put on a cup because I got some questions for you. I mean, seriously, it's like the judge calls Mr. Job to the stand. And starting from Job 38:1, God pours out a barrage of questions that none of us would ever want to have to answer. It would be like trying to block the bullets of a machine gun or a Gatling gun, and you're like, bing, 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 I can't do it anymore. God starts with, who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Dress for action like a man. That's put on your cup. Or gird up your loins, King James Version. And I will question you, and you will make it known to me. And you know how many questions God asks Job? Like 50? 100? Nope. 77. Of course, we should have thought of that. 77 questions. God asked Job 77 questions about cosmology, oceanography, meteorology, astronomy, and they just can't be answered. They can't be answered by a puny little man. They can't be answered by a puny little finite man. It's like in the great circle of knowledge, how much do you know? In the circle of everything, how much do you know? That much? Maybe that much? Now, how much do you know? The first question was, where were you? It's a great question. Where were you? He asks it a whole lot, actually, of Job. Like where were you, Job, when God was laying the foundation of the world? Now, I've heard people say, when I stand before God, I got a few questions for him. No, you won't. You will have to answer to him. He's not going to answer to you. And God drove the point home with Job by saying, tell me if you possess understanding. Basically, he was saying, tell me if you think you're so smart, smarty pants. God basically backed Job into a corner and asked him 77 questions that he could not answer. And he even used some sarcasm to drive home his point. Jesus was good at that as well. He used the same techniques. When he would debate the Jewish religious leaders, he would use sarcasm. And he was so good at it that the religious leaders at one point said, the religious leaders no longer asked him any more questions. But consider this question. Where were you? He writes in 38:4-7, where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me, if you have understanding, who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it? What were its bases sunk? Or who laid its cornerstone when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy? My questions are like, who are the morning stars? Who are the sons of God? I have some ideas about that, but that's another block. It's quite humbling to realize that you don't know everything. To become fully aware and wrap your mind around the fact that there is something or someone greater than you. The world doesn't revolve around you, and indeed, one day you will give an account. One day you will have to answer to him. 3 chapters of the book of Job are taken up by God asking these questions, rapid fire, like one after the other. Job cannot answer questions like, where were you? Do you know? Can you do this? Can you do that? Where does this come from? Where does that come from? What about this? And after God was done, Job was undone. There's this kind of pregnant moment of silence, awkward silence. And then Job responds in verse 2 of chapter 42. And Job says, I know that you can do all things, and that no purpose of yours can be thwarted. Who is this that hides counsel without knowledge? Therefore, I have uttered what I did not understand, things too wonderful to me, for me, which I did not know. Basically, Job was saying, I should be quiet now. And in other words, a wise man once said, nothing.